ready to rock. The Cup drivers motor into Rockingham. Dale Earnhardt still smiling from Daytona, but would he still be smiling after 400 miles at the Rock? The NHRA rocks the quarter mile. Try not to get snake bitten as Larry Dixon and Ron Capps rev it up out in Phoenix. Up, up, and away they go. Where they land, nobody knows. We'll go two-wheeling with the king of Supercross. Plus, we'll take a trip to Viva Las Vegas as NASCAR hits the jackpot.
Oh my gosh, awesome racetrack. It really is.
Just remember to keep your eyes on the road, watch where you're going, and don't take it out on the equipment. And remember, RPM tonight.
Rock!
He finally won the 500 last week. You know, and I told him, I said, you finally won that thing after 19 or 20 years, or however many it is. I said, I'm going to win Rockingham. I'm going to win my first race, too.
He talked the talk, but could Rick Mast walk the walk? Hi there, glad to have you with us on RPM tonight. I'm Reese Davis. Coming up, why those who prefer to go in drag should learn to negotiate their way through cactus. Motorcycles trying to avoid some sticky situations as well, but we're going to open with the attempt at an encore, and only two guys have won the first two races of the season, David Pearson and Jeff Gordon last year. And fresh off that Daytona 500 win, Dale Earnhardt had some ground to cover to make it a threesome. He started the Goodwrench 400 37th on a provisional. No one has come from farther back than 30th to win at the Rock, and that was the late Neil Bonnet, one of Earnhardt's closest friends in racing. Bonnet did it 10 years ago, and there's the three, getting that spoiler shaved down to meet the 5 and 5. Kyle Petty's Pontiac gets an extra 3/8 of an inch. Battle for the lead, lap 52. Johnny Benson in the Cheerios machine, also in a Ford, takes the lead from Rick Mast. Robert Presley, turn left, Robert, turn left, not right. 77's into the wall. It brought out the first caution on lap 77. Lap 92, DJ Dale Jarrett going past Benson, taking the lead. 27 lead changes on the day. The first 9 among Fords. Here's another Ford. Mark Martin getting past the 88. Jeff Gordon, mwah. Little kiss from Jerry Nadeau to let him know he's here. Gordon had handling problems early, fell nearly to the back of the pack, but the 24's on the move. Passing Jeremy Mayfield here and making it back to the top 10. Just past the halfway point. Martin was leading. He's in the pits. Watch this guy, Sean Parker. Oh, if you've been injured in an accident, get the money you deserve. Call a law firm. He was fine. Sean was okay. Bumped by a teammate there, Benson. Of course, another Roush ride. Rusty Wallace assuming the lead there. Dale Jarrett in second. And then here comes Gordon coming inside on the 2. Lap 270 and the Rainbow Warrior team. They're out front. 27 laps later, Earnhardt's on the tail end. Gordon's trying to lap him, and boy, the Intimidator doesn't want to be lapped. Star of soda commercials, Ray Evernham looking on. Jeff Bodine leading the Penske South team. Penske South team ganging up on him, and there is Jeremy Mayfield going down low and taking the lead away from Bodine. Earnhardt returns. He's bumping, getting together with Jeremy Mayfield. Mayfield got by him, but the Intimidator then intimidated. Gets the 12 all kind of loose, and the 3 takes advantage going past him. Lap 355. Kenny Irwin had a wreck. Bobby Labonte just misses him, but he did bring out the 5th caution. Dale Jarrett back on the lead lap now. Comes in, 4 tires. Gets the splash of gas. You're out of here, DJ. Keep moving. Johnny Benson, meanwhile, the Cheerios went a little soggy on him. Dropped a couple of cylinders. He would end up finishing 30th. Lap 365. Gordon's in the middle of that pack, but he's the only one on the lead lap, and he was leading. All kinds of racing deals. Oh, one of them racing deals. We got the 21. We got the 31. We got all kinds of cars getting banged up. Labonte's in there. Mayfield involved. Here's what Ricky Craven saw. He saw the Skittles ride of Ernie Irvin and Steve Park getting together. He got through there. Here's what Bobby Labonte saw. He did not get through there. He hit Mike Skinner, just about T-boned him. Mayfield gonna need some Bondo. He finished the lap down in 14th. Meanwhile, the 24, Jeff Gordon, boy, this guy just keeps on doing it. Does it again, comes up and wins the Goodwrench 400. And right after that, we didn't get to see it, but Jeff got a little sugar from Brooks, so all is right with the world. Jeff has won this thing 3 of the last 4 years. The next 6 behind Gordon were driving Tauruses, or Tauri if you prefer. Rusty Wallace in 2nd place, 2 in a row in the top 5. Jeff Bodine is in 5th. 6 through 10 looks like this. Bill Elliott, 2 straight top 10s now. DJ finished 2nd in each of the last 4 at the Rock. Takes a 7th this time around. Labonte and Craven gave Hendrick, all 3 Hendrick teams, a top 10 finish. At the top of that heap, of course, Jeff Gordon, who picked up career win number 30 and spoke to Bill Weber.
Well, here at Rockingham, Jeff Gordon in victory lane. And Jeff, is it safe to say you didn't have the best race car early in the day?
Well, no, we didn't. You know, we had to do a lot of work on it, and I tell you what, those Rainbow Warriors worked their tails off in the pits today. And, you know, Ray and I just kept communicating, and I knew I needed it to be tightened up from the middle off, and we just didn't know how to do that without hurting it on the entry. We tried one thing, and I said, oh, I don't think that's going to work. I think we need to go the opposite way, and they gave us the opposite. And, you know, he made the right adjustments and really brought this car back to life. I think I searched the whole racetrack all day long and finally found my groove about halfway through the race, and it was on the bottom, and we could run the bottom as good as anybody, just hook that white line and try to go around there. And all of a sudden I saw myself start to catch other cars and reel them in and reeling those leaders in. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm amazed that we're here in Victory Lane. This is an unbelievable day for this whole team.
Last 50 laps, you, Rusty Wallace, and a little bit of traffic.
Yeah, you know, I tell you what, it was pretty crazy out there on restarts. When you had all those cars on the tail end of the lead lap, you didn't know what was going to happen. You knew a wreck was probably going to happen, and it did there a couple times. I think, you know, being in the lead there at the end really helped me get into clean air. The cool temperatures really helped, but I tell you what, the DuPont Automotive Finishes Chevrolet was awesome today, and it's great to have a Chevrolet in Victory Lane in front of all those Tauruses.
His first win of the season, his second straight in the spring race here at the Rock.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. And since the start of '95, Gordon's had a lot of Chevrolets in Victory Lane. He's won 28 of the 96 races. If you want to get technical, he won the second race in '95, so he's actually won 28 of the last 95 events, nearly 30%. Hey, Dale Jarrett's been terrific over the same stretch, but still 16 fewer wins than Gordon. Gordon 30 wins and 158 starts, and the latest guy to be looking at Gordon's rear bumper under the checkered was Rusty Wallace.
My car was a little bit tight at the end. I was just pushing the front end a little bit too much. Robin, he asked me about any adjustments, but his car was so good I didn't want to take a chance and making it go one way or the other, so I just stuck with what I had. And I probably should have loosened up a little bit, but it ran great, but right there at the end I just felt like I got beat.
No excuses. We had a set of tires that didn't work as well as some of the others. The last set was pretty good, but we didn't have anything for the 24 car at the end, and we were on again, off again with Rusty. Sometimes we could run with him, sometimes we couldn't. It was a good run for us. I'm real proud of this race team.
We were leading the race, and the last caution come out. That really hurt us. And then the next one was we got a good break when the caution come out and we were in pit road, and we didn't lose a lap there. So, you know, one washes the other, so to speak.
This team is good. This Ford Taurus, you know, you saw how good they run today. They're a great car. And I'm just excited about, let's see, where we're going next week. Vegas. Oh, yeah, 7 come 11.
I seen some cars up top of the racetrack, and I went low thinking I was going to get out of it, and a couple other cars spun and got into us. And just unfortunate, you know, for the race team, our race team.
You know, we were kind of up against it. We were surrounded by Fords. But we were battling, and I thought we had something for them, and then we had a problem, had to pit. Corrected that, fought back all day, and ended up 10th. And, you know, the car drove good. It was as good as it can get at Rockingham.
Pretty good for Rusty Wallace these days. The '89 champ has the points lead on the strength of his pair of top fives. Earnhardt falls to second after finishing a lap down in 17th. Gordon just 2 points behind the Intimidator. Elliott jumps from 10th to 5th. You can do that this time of year. Jimmy Spencer, who's never finished better than 12th, is off to a solid start as well. As a result of engine problems in qualifying, Dale Jarrett started 32nd, had to pit on the back stretch. It's not what you're after, but the 88 team made chicken salad and finished 7th.
And the car was really good at the first of the race, and from there on we just never could get it back to what it was at the beginning. We could make it either too loose or too tight. We couldn't get a happy medium, and just fought that most of the rest of the day, but to come out of here with a top 10's okay.
Well, Pontiac had won 10 of the previous 20 races at Rockingham, but couldn't even lead a lap on Sunday and didn't get a car in the top 10. The Taurus not just good for taking the kids to soccer practice anymore, it's good for leading laps at Rockingham. Did nearly 4 times as many as Chevrolet. Still to come here on RPM tonight. Would the force be with John, who might find funny cars to be no laughing matter these days? We'll go to Phoenix. The 5 and 5 rule and how it brought the racers together to swap a little pony.
RPM Tonight is being brought to you by 10321. Just dial it and save up to 50%. Now, back to Reese Davis.
The last 2 years, the 3 guys to win the major professional classes at the NHRA's ATSCO Nationals in Phoenix. went on to win the season title. Coincidence or connection? Off to Phoenix we go, and this is Don Prudhomme's team. They celebrated victories in Top Fuel and Funny Car 3 weeks ago. He owns Ron Capps and Larry Dixon's machines. How would they do today? Ron Capps here in the Funny Car defeating Al Hoffman in round 2. John Force not getting it done. The Force was not with John. He was on the left. It was sort of cloudy. You see the fog. He was squirrely. He's all over the place. He bows out in Randy Anderson in the first round. Capps and Chuck Etchels. Capps goes up in smoke. Looks as if he stopped driving his car, but he didn't really. Etchels runs in 4.94 seconds. He's now in second place in the points, just 38 behind Capps. John Force not on this list in Funny Car, and it's not a bit funny to him. He's won 5 straight and 7 titles overall, and he's out of the top 10 in points for the first time this decade. Top Fuel, it's super premium. It costs a little more, but it makes your dragsters run faster. That's Don Prudhomme hoping for some better luck with Larry Dixon. Round 1, Dixon's in the near lane. The engine lets go, and Mike Dunn is getting it done. Just like that, the snake bit. He's 0 for 2. In the semis, a heavyweight matchup. Corey McClenneth in the near lane against Gary Selzy, last year's champ. Corey Mack, 291 miles per hour, tad under his 320. Surprise points leader is Jim Head. That wasn't Jim, that was his dog. That is Jim, standing there with his wife and his dog. McClenneth, though, would win this thing by 0.03 of a second, 319 miles per hour. McClenneth still second to Jim Head in the point standings. Dixon won the season opener in Pomona, as we mentioned. Jim Head finished 9th in last year's standings. Check out the pro stocks in Phoenix. In the first round, the brothers Coughlin. Troy in the near lane, Jag in the far lane. Jag, the 14th seed, upsets his brother Troy, I should say, by beating him. Jag won 4 titles in 4 lower level classes of drag racing last year. In round 2, Warren Johnson near lane, taking on Mark Howitt. WJ trying to win it, the only track where he's never won before, and Johnson getting to the stripe. Then he changed engines in the middle of the event. Now, that's common for Top Fuel and Funny Cars, but not for pro stocks. Made it to the finals anyway against his arch rival Jim Yates. And Johnson does it. And now he's done it all. Runs a 6.96, and he wins his first at the Firebird Raceway. So this is how it looks. Johnson defeats Yates, but Yates up on Johnson in the season point standings. It was the 64th career win for Warren Johnson. Well, still to come here on RPM tonight. Jeremy McGrath going for 4 in a row in Supercross on the red clay down at the Georgia Dome, and there was a great big crowd there to greet him. Also ahead on RPM tonight, the 5 and 5 rules, supposed to ensure equal racing, but the Torai made it look as if there were inequities aplenty. We'll go back to the rock. Entertainment the Rock, and he had the top Pontiac finish this time around, but it was just 11th. The pole sitter Rick Mast could not make good on his Joe Namath-like guarantee and ended up coming home 12th. As for Dale Earnhardt, couldn't make it 2 in a row, but he got in the thick of things after starting 37th. Jeff Burton 4th in the points last year. He's struggling out of the gate, 18th this time after a 40th place run in Daytona. Irvin was the 3rd Pontiac in the top 20. Grissom finished a couple of laps down. From the beginning, most expected the new Taurus to be a good downforce car. At the other makes, save Jeff Gordon's car would be downforced right out of the lead pack, was not expected. Ford, Chevy, and Pontiac all had to deal with the new 5 and 5 spoiler and front air dam rules designed to limit downforce. Bill Weber tells us the Fords just seem to do it a little better.
There have been 66 NASCAR Winston Cup races run here in Rockingham. On Sunday, we may have seen one of the best. Sure, guys that didn't have a strong finish were disappointed, but we saw a lot of side-by-side racing, a lot of passing at the front of the field. Was it a coincidence that NASCAR's new 5 and 5 rule debuted here? Maybe, maybe not.
And I thought there'd be more bumping and banging, and it was just very close. Typical Winston Cup racing, and I think you saw a lot more side-by-side racing than you used to see. And the cars, Goodyear had a good tire here, had a lot of grip in the track, and typical Rockingham, the pavements wore out.
The cars just don't drive well. They just, they're just all over the place. You try to go to the bottom, and sometimes it'll go, sometimes it won't. They just don't drive well with that much downforce off of them.
I was working all day long today, man. I was slipping and sliding going in and coming off. And at the beginning, I didn't like it. I was like, I don't like this rule. But once we got the car tight enough, I was enjoying it. It seemed like the cars were pretty equal, and everybody really had to search and really had to work hard and drive hard if they were going to run up front.
I know a Chevrolet went to victory lane, but man, what a lopsided deal today. And I hope they watched the entire race, not just the last few laps. All you needed today to be a good race car driver, it looked like to me, was a car with Taurus across the nose.
It's good. It puts the driver back into it. They don't run wide open in the corners, and I think that's good for racing.
The tire Goodyear brought here to Rockingham was the same as last year with one small exception. The tread was 1/32 of an inch thicker. That helped fight tire wear and make for closer racing. As for the 5-and-5 rule, well, it'll be a few races before we know its full effect. In Rockingham, North Carolina, I'm Bill Weber.
All right, Bill, thanks a lot. 9 of the 15 Chevys that started the race finished out of the top 20, and one of them was, in fact, 20th, not counting that 9. Chad Little coming off his surprising 7th place finish at Daytona. He did that in a T-bird. He brought his Taurus home in 21st place. Kyle Petty owns 3 wins at the Rock. He was 24th, 1 place better than he started. Kenny Irwin topped the group 3 laps off the pace. Ole Hutt, Johnny Benson started in the top 10, but barely finished in the top 30. Well, Kenny Wallace was on the outside pole. He didn't even make Daytona. He was running okay for a while, but you see, as a result there, he didn't run okay all day. He was a mess, but not ready to scrap the season.
Darn it, you know, you just keep trying. You think you're going to get it, and then, you know, you're sitting there running the top 15 all day and keep thinking you can adjust on the car and get going, and towards the end of the race, you have a wreck like that. So, I don't know. Just keep digging. Don't got an answer for it.
Johnny Benson started 8th. He led 38 laps, but he dropped a cylinder late, maybe another one on pit road. But Johnny's not crying in his Cheerios bowl over his number 30 place run.
The end result, you know, it's not a whole lot we can do about that. I mean, that just happened. You know, it'll happen. It happens to everybody. But I tell you what, man, this thing is awesome.
Low tide for Ricky Rudd. Engine failure tanks the Taurus. He didn't think it could get any worse than 42nd at Daytona. He was wrong. 43rd, dead last.
Man, this is tough. I can't ever remember starting a season like this. 2 motor failures 2 weeks in a row, and you know, it's not like we're up front challenging for the win either. So we got some work to do. We got off in the beginning of the race, made some chassis changes, and we were going to be pretty good, I feel like, the rest of the race, and then the motor decided to let go.
Well, Ricky's won a race at least 15 straight years, so you got to figure the tide will start rolling sooner or later. But these 5 guys would like to have a do-over for the start of the season. Rudd, Wallace struggling. Benson squandered that top 10 start through no fault of his own, obviously. Things have really been tough for Darrell Waltrip, who's needed a couple of past champion provisionals just to get into the race. Well, next week, the gentlemen of Winston Cup roll into the home of Lady Luck, hoping to avoid snake eyes. Gearing up, coming up after the break. Viva Las Vegas. That brings up 2Night's RPM Best Buy question. Where was the first Winston Cup race held during the modern era? We define the modern era as beginning in 1972. Best Buy will also provide an answer right after the break. Please put down your number 2 pencils and pass your answers to the front. Time to check out the answer for 2Night's Best Buy question. Where was the first Winston Cup race held in the modern era? 1972. The answer is Riverside. Daytona would have been the easy answer there, but Riverside hosted the opener from 72 to 81, with Daytona taking over in 82. By the way, the King won that race at Riverside. Well, next Sunday will be the 217th anniversary of the Continental Congress's adoption of the Articles of Confederation. For future historical reference, our founding fathers will have to share that date with the gentlemen of Winston Cup, who roll into Vegas for the first time. Bright Light City, gonna set my soul on fire in this week's Gearing Up.
Oh my gosh, awesome racetrack. It really is.
With 2 races under their belts, it's time for the Cup guys to head out west.
Oh yeah.
Whether they're feeling lucky or not, Sin City brings a new speedway onto the scene. This marks the 5th shiny new track to join the Winston Cup Series in the 90s.
It's the size of Charlotte. It is that big. It's a true 1.5 mile. Huge racetrack, but it's banked like Richmond.
Like some tracks, Atlanta or maybe even Fontana. It's a better racetrack as far as running 2 and 3 wide. It's going to be more competitive than what you see, I think, at a lot of racetracks.
I feel like it's a big California, or a small California. It's a flat racetrack. It's a driver's racetrack. I mean, it's a driver's dream.
A small group of drivers have tested outer grooves, but out of this select group, only 2 have tasted victory. Ken Schrader won the Winston West race, while Jeff Green took the checkered at the inaugural Busch race last season.
I don't know if that's going to give me any edge or not, but we're going to go out there thinking it's going to. Maybe my odds will be good or great. We can bet some money.
Jeff Burton, winner of the 1997 inaugural race in Texas, has not been on the Vegas track, but he doesn't see that as a problem.
We may unload and not be as prepared as some other teams. We also have a half a day of practice out there with no qualifying, with nothing but track time. I have my Busch car out there that I'm racing, and I have my Winston Cup car, so I will have a lot of laps by the time I leave there.
New track, new set of wheels, in the spirit of the Vegas nightlife, Rusty Wallace plans to showcase his Elvis ride. Viva Las Vegas. Well, the Cup guys might need maps to get to all of the new venues, but once they get there, actually the directions are pretty simple. Just keep turning left.
Gearing Up is brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota. Every day.
Result yet, your racing rotisserie team is in a world of hurt. Steve Park, #1 in your program, number 31 on your leaderboard. Greg Sachs, the Thornapple Valley Meats car, was smoked meat, not getting it done. He finished 36. Kenny Wallace on the outside pole was on the outside looking in by the end. Robert Presley was 40th. DW's woes continue. Used his second straight past champions provisional, as I mentioned, and finished 2 spots from the back at the end. David Green started 3rd, wound up 2nd to last, and we have chronicled Ricky Rudd's woes. He was listed as 303 laps behind the winner. NASCAR Radio, RPM Radio, NASCAR Now on the ESPN Radio Network. It comes your way Friday. It's the premiere edition, February 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. When you find ESPN Radio on your dial, lock it in and rip the knob off. Supercross from Atlanta, the 250cc's Ezra Lusk on the 3. Oh, the dismount, and Ezra sticks the landing. Had a cut hand, lost his bike, but he's a motorcycle rider, so he kept racing. Jeremy McGrath, meanwhile, gets
from
4th
behind
straight.
I didn't get such a good start as last 3 weeks, and the track was real technical out there. There was a lot of lines and a lot of mistakes being made.
125cc's Jimmy Neese running at distance 2nd. He hits the jump and then hits the box there and dismounts. Just about got that noggin run over, but he too is a motorcycle rider, so he keeps racing. Ricky Carmichael, meanwhile, takes the checkered flag. He was virtually unchallenged. Danny Smith 2nd. Robbie Skaggs was in 3rd place. RPM Tonight comes your way Monday through Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then a week from Sunday, a week from today, actually, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then 9 Eastern Time on Sunday night with a complete wrap of everything that happened in Las Vegas. Well, back to the drag racing now, and in Pro Stock, Warren Johnson had never won in Phoenix, but he finally got it done. WJ happy.
It becomes almost an obsession to win a race when you can't put a finger out why you can't win it. You know, you look at everything that can conceivably go wrong, and I think you probably dwell on it too much, and then it does go wrong.
Congratulations to Warren Johnson. You know, we've been accused of talking about Jeff Gordon too much, but hey, you've got to give this guy his due. He moved to the back of the pack early in the race at the Rock, and by the end, he's where he's been a lot of times, right there in victory lane. Jeff Gordon winning it at the Rock. We'll see you next time around. Don't forget RPM weeknights at 7 p.m. I'm Reese. Bye.